Hello and welcome to Brilliant POV. Step back in time and join us as we uncover the remarkable journey of the one and only Elvis Presley. From his humble beginnings to the moment he was crowned the king of rock and roll. We'll delve into his childhood, his first single that set the world on fire, That's All Right, and his electrifying first TV appearance on the Louisiana Hayride. You'll be transported to a time when Elvis was just starting out, and you'll see the rare footage of him that has never been seen before. Get ready to be moved by the stories of those who knew him best, and to experience the raw talent, passion, and energy that made Elvis the legend he is today. This is a journey you don't want to miss. Elvis Presley was a black belt in karate and trained with Ed Parker, known as the father of American Kempo. He also trained in other martial arts such as Goju Ryu and Taekwondo. He was passionate about martial arts and often incorporated it into his performances, including high kicks and karate moves in his dance routine. He even used martial arts moves on stage during his concerts to entertain the crowd. He also incorporated martial arts into his movies and TV appearances. He even had a dojo in his home in Memphis where he would train with his friends and bodyguards. Despite his success as a musician, Elvis never learned to read music and relied on his natural talent and memory to perform. He had a natural ear for music and could pick up new songs quickly just by listening to them. He would often record himself singing a song and then listen back to it to help him remember the lyrics and melody. He also had a great ability to improvise and would often change the lyrics or melody of a song to suit his own style. Despite not being able to read sheet music, he was able to play several instruments including the guitar, piano, and saxophone. He also had a great ability to perform different genres of music, from rock and roll, country, blues, gospel, and even pop music. His natural musical talent combined with his charisma and stage presence made him one of the most successful and influential musicians of all time. Elvis had a twin brother, Jesse Garon Presley, who was stillborn, and Elvis always felt a deep connection to him. He would often speak about Jesse and how it affected him during his life. He said that he felt a sense of loneliness and emptiness due to the loss of his twin. He also said that he felt guilty for being the one who survived. He would often visit his twin's grave and left flowers and other gifts on it. He even had a tattoo of Jesse's name on his arm. Some of his closest friends said that he often talked about his twin and how he felt that Jesse was always with him. He would often say that he felt like he was living for the both of them. This deep connection and feeling of loss may have contributed to his sense of vulnerability and his desire to connect with others through his music and performances. Elvis Presley was a devout Christian and attended church regularly throughout his life. He was raised in the Assembly of God Church and was a strong believer in the power of prayer and faith. He often spoke about his faith in interviews and even incorporated gospel music into his performances. He sang gospel music in many of his concerts and also released several gospel albums throughout his career. He had strong ties with the gospel community and was friends with many gospel musicians and preachers. He even had a gospel quartet, the Imperials, as his backup singers for some time. His faith was very important to him, and it's said that he would often begin and end his concerts with a prayer. He also had a Bible with him on tour and would often read from it before going on stage. He also had a Bible verse or hymn printed on many of his album covers. He was a strong supporter of various religious organizations and charities and often donated money to them. He was a strong believer in the power of love and forgiveness and often talked about how his faith helped him to overcome difficult times in his life. Elvis Presley was a fan of the Dallas Cowboys and even attended a game wearing a Cowboys jersey. He was a big fan of American football and often watched games on TV. He was particularly fond of the Dallas Cowboys and would often attend their games in person. He even had a friendship with the team's owner, Jerry Jones, and some of the players. He would often wear Cowboys jerseys and other apparel at home and on tour, showing his support for the team. He even had a custom-made Dallas Cowboys jumpsuit, which he would wear on stage while performing. He also had a Dallas Cowboys helmet and a football signed by the team, which he kept in his home. His love for the team was not limited to just watching games. He also had a minor league football team called the Memphis Mafia, that he owned and managed. He also had a deep respect for the athletes and the physical and mental discipline that it takes to be a professional football player, and often talked about how it related to his own career and the discipline it takes to be a successful musician. Elvis Presley was a big fan of the comic book character Captain Marvel Jr. and even named one of his guitars after the character. He was a big fan of comics and would often read them during his free time. He was particularly fond of the Captain Marvel Jr. comic book series and was a big fan of the character. He even had a custom-made Captain Marvel Jr. belt buckle, which he would wear on stage while performing. He also had a guitar that he named Captain Marvel Jr. and would often play it on stage. The guitar was a Martin D28 and was one of his favorite instruments. He had it customized with the Captain Marvel Jr. logo on the headstock. He would often tell stories to his friends and bandmates about the comic book series and the character of Captain Marvel Jr. and would often incorporate elements of the character into his performances. His love for comics and the character of Captain Marvel Jr. is an example of how Elvis was able to connect with different forms of art and culture, and how it would influence his own work. Elvis Presley was a big fan of the movies and would often watch 3 or 4 films in a row during his free time. He had a deep love for cinema and would often watch a wide variety of films, from classic Hollywood movies to foreign films. He would often watch movies in his private screening room at his Graceland estate or on the road while on tour. He had a large collection of films and would often watch them on his tour bus or in hotel rooms. He was particularly fond of the Western genre and would often watch movies of this kind. He would also watch war movies and crime dramas. He also had a fondness for musicals, especially those of Gene Kelly and Fred Astaire. He would often talk about his favorite movies and actors with his friends and bandmates, and would even incorporate elements of them into his performances. He would often quote lines from movies in his interviews and would even use them as inspiration for his songwriting. Elvis would also act in several movies throughout his career, making 31 films in total. Many of them were musicals, and some of them were dramas, comedies and even westerns. He was able to showcase his versatility as an actor and his love for movies in these films. As we come to the close of this journey, we have been able to witness the incredible rise of Elvis Presley, from a small-town boy to the undisputed king of rock and roll. We have been able to see his raw talent, passion and energy that has captured the hearts of millions. We've been able to see rare footage of Elvis during his early years, and hear from those who knew him best. We hope this video has not only entertained you, but also given you a deeper understanding of the man behind the legend. Elvis Presley's story is one of hard work, determination, and above all, an undeniable love for music. We hope you have enjoyed this journey and that you will continue to be a fan of the one and only Elvis Presley, the king of rock and roll. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.